Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Calvin, and today we're going to be going through a web series or a little kind of playlist of how to create a game in Unity2d using the 2D engine that they have recently added to their program. Now, we're not going to go into too much detail, just the very basics of how to use Unity and what all of this in front of you means, and also how to script very basic scripts to make players do things. So, as you can see from in front of me, this is my game that I've created earlier, and this is what we're going to create. As you can see, we are able to collide with objects, and we're able to hang on cubes and walls. But, however, the spikes, we die from. So, as you can see, we die from spikes. It's pretty straightforward. So, that's what we're going to create, and during this, hopefully, you get the knowledge of the basics of scripting and the basics of coding or programming, and also the basics of Unity. And you can take that knowledge and create your own cool games and designs. And yeah. So let's begin. So first of all, obviously you will not see this yet because we've just started the series. So you'll have a blank everything. So you want to do is going to call File, New Project, and we're going to create a new project. And so we're going to give it a name. So we'll call it 2D game. Why not? And I'm going to make sure it's on a 2D default, because we're going to be using the 2D engine, not 3D. And I'm not allowed to create. Why not? Okay, that was... okay, maybe I already have something called... I don't know, anyway. So, once you've set out your stuff, you've given a name, and you've put it to a 2D default, and you want to click create, and then Unity is going to relaunch, and it's going to bring you a new, as you can see, new untitled 2D game. Now, untitled just means your scene is untitled, not your game. Don't worry about it. So yeah, this is the basics. So here is your scene editor. This is where you edit your scene or level or whatever. This is your game that you can test. You want to go ahead and put that on free aspect, because it's, trust me, it's a lot easier if you click free aspect. It just looks a little bit better. I think, anyway. It's really up to you how you want your layout to look. So yeah, your scene editor, this is your game, so when you click the play button, it will simulate your game. This is your hierarchy, so this is where everything, every object and stuff in your scene is here that you can drag and add stuff. This will change depending on your scene and stuff like that. This is the inspector, which you can inspect objects and as you can see, change properties and stuff like that. So, yeah. And this is your project folder where you'll have your scripts and your project files. So, in the first episode, what we're going to do is going to create our scene. Excuse me, sorry. We're going to create our scene, and our scene's going to be very basic. As you can see, we're just going to have a floor, going to have a wall, another wall, and then some spikes that we're going to collide with. So, I guess let's begin. So the first thing you want to do is go down to your assets folder and create a new folder and call it sprites, because sprites is what we are going to put our textures in for our blocks. And I have got a little bit of cold, if you haven't noticed, a little bit of a virus. So what you want to do is you want to create a sprites folder, and in the sprites folder you've got to drag your assets. Now I have already pre-created some assets, so for instance, here we go. I've created a player, and we've got a sprite asset that we created earlier. And we'll drag them into the sprites folder. Like so. So if you want these, I'll put them up for download, and you can just download them, or you can create your own in Photoshop. You know, whatever floats your goat, I guess. Now, once we create our textures that we're going to use for our blocks, we can create the scene. Now we can start laying out how it's gonna play through. So we're gonna add a cube, and we're gonna right click and rename this player, because this is gonna be our player. We're gonna be able to move him about, and he's gonna know we're gonna be controlling. So we need to give it a player tag, because we're going to reference this player tag when we start making scripts and we start programming, so that the script knows that it wants to assign the values to the player tag. We're then gonna create another cube, and we're gonna call this floor. So right click, rename floor. and we're going to duplicate that. Well, actually, I'm not going to yet, actually, no. We're going to scale it using the first scalable option. So we're going to scale it on the x-axis, because this is going to be a floor, so we need to scale it quite long, and then we can move our player over here, and then we just, like I said before, we're going to duplicate and then drag it up like so. So now we have a floor and a ceiling that we can have the object collide with. Now we also need a spike. So the textures we're actually just going to use straight away are sprite texture because it's a lot easier. But if we click on player and then we drag our player sprite, we'll actually see it. Oh, okay, it creates a player sprite upside down. So that's something right there. So we'll just rotate this guy 90 degrees and not worry too much about how it looks. But yeah, we can rotate this guy 90 degrees and that's a little bit better. So yeah, yours obviously wouldn't be upside down. I don't know why it was upside down. It's just Uni being weird. It's going to create a folder actually with the player, and it's actually going to create material for the player. Don't need to worry about that too much. Now for our sprite, spike sprite, we can actually just drag this to the hierarchy and create an object with it. Now it's going to be huge because Unity likes to make things huge, but we can scale it down to 0.1. But as you can see, we can use the scale options to scale it down to a respectable level. That's just a little bit smaller, I think. So, if you are using my textures that we created earlier, or that you downloaded, then you want to scale it to 0.1. If you're using your own textures, you probably won't have to scale it, or you might. It just depends on how you want to play out. So, yeah, let's just duplicate the sprite, spike sprite, a couple of times, and lay them out in a way that looks like it's going to create an obstacle. I can't even say the word, but you know what I mean. Like that. So obviously the player would need to jump over them, or in this instance, hang on the wall. That will got to bring down a little bit more. Yeah. Because I should do. So yeah, our scene should look something like this, and next episode what we'll do is start scripting and creating our movement for our player object, which is going to be really cool because you'll start to learn the basics of scripting and coding, and you'll be able to, well, have a lot of fun creating a game. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. I hope this was fun and enjoyable, and I hope that you guys will follow on the series as much as I will enjoy making them. See you guys later, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye.